Yo, what is good, my anime people? What is good, yo? So I had a weird thought process of I was trying to pick a character that kind of reminded me the most of Gigamesh, and for some reason, with his overall story and how he became like, well, how he was in Fate Zero to now in Grand Order is very, very strange to me. Why? He's just gonna punch me once? Okay, there we go. Was very strange just because of how they went about giving him, all of this dictatorship and all of this different stuff that made him seem like he was really, truly a bad person. And then I thought about someone that, is kind of in the same realm, but also thinks he's doing what's best for people, and that is Lord Frieza. Yes, monkey. So I feel like Lord Frieza is almost in a position of being redeemed in some manners and forms as well. Sorry, I'm trying to go Golden Frieza because it's more realistic towards being Gigamesh, So, Bink. Um, we definitely have a relaxing episode this week until the end where they're just like, okay, you guys were relaxing a little bit too much. Time for the pain. And they just go in Gigamesh versus one of his old disciples or old, like, friend or comrade or something along these lines. Um, it definitely does suck to see Gilgamesh pretty much having to deal with someone who he actually believes he would have lost to. So not only did we see someone who can keep up with Lord Gilgamesh and maybe even uh, be stronger than him, we literally watched this whole entire battle. And after watching it, you take whatever you take from it. Gilgamesh was like, yeah, if he wanted it to happen, he could have killed me. Like, point blank, I would have died. And I would have died with you. I would have died with you, two main characters. Isn't that fun? Like, he knew he was pretty. It could have been a wrap, I guess you can say, and it makes sense because if Gilgamesh is a king, and this person was like his right hand, that means he was probably the right hand, meaning the strongest, the most, dominant, everything like that. I could see him having friends and stuff like that, but the most respected person by his side would definitely be someone that could either one up him or be so close to his level that it pushes him to a state where he needs to use more attacks than he normally would for most people or something along those lines. So I do love this battle in a grand scheme of telling us Gilgamesh's overall like power, and not only his power, kind of like where he stands when it comes down to these battles. Like, we've seen a lot of fights, and this fight didn't seem like it was so far beyond the realm of other fights we've seen, right? Like, it didn't feel like this fight was like, oh my god, they're doing things that have never been seen before. Like, it didn't seem like they were going all out. And just because they weren't going all out, or if they were going all out, um, it gives this weird notion that every single fight is always going to be a fight for your life. And I like that, but at the same time, every single fight, we have literally seen Mash hold up her shield to then be saved after blocking a couple attacks, maybe going in for an attack, not being successful, and then being saved. Like, tell me how many episodes we have seen that in, and don't worry, I'll wait for the comments. But it's been kind of ridiculous on how much they're banking on that aspect of the storytelling and how many times they've already used it as a whole. So it's just a little bit annoying in my opinion, but at the same time it makes sense that they wouldn't be able to handle a lot of these things. These are like some full-blown summoned servants by actual people who are like Gigamesh, ridiculously powerful. And if someone like Gigamesh summons somebody, they're going to be, siphoning power off of him and not just off of some human mage, back where in Fate Zero, these guys are actually siphoning off of much, much stronger people in general. So I definitely want to see how ridiculously crazy these fights can get, but as a whole, I don't know if they're going to continue this trove of, oh, and then they needed to be saved over and over. Because if they do, I'll be kind of disappointed. I mean, it makes sense that they don't want the main characters like doing everything, but at the same time, what are the main characters gonna do? Because even bringing up the Mage King's name in this week's episode, holy crap, that did no damage. Um, like for instance, he's like, "Oh, I sense the Mage King's power off of him." It's like, okay, so what does that do for us? What does that do for you and Mash? Like what are you guys gonna do about it? Nothing, of course. They're going to watch Gigamesh pretty much state the fact that if the battle carried on the right way with no one holding back on each other, he would have lost. So, yeah, where do we go from here? I don't know. But overall, I feel like I might be a little bit more optimistic of this stuff if I had played all of the app game and watched every single cutscene to learn more stuff, but I feel like some of this stuff wouldn't even be in the app game. Like some of it's kind of obscured. Like, is there literally part in the app game where you just take a stroll with King Gigamesh, and then after taking a stroll with them, you run into this battle? Like it's stuff like that that makes you really think or wonder where the source material is actually being used, or where an original like aspect of stories are being brought in, because they can definitely make this show last a lot longer than the app on some of the parts. I feel like they can stretch out a lot of scenes and stuff like that, or give more context to scenes that might not have had so much context. um, Anything like that to kind of keep the show going is in their favor. But as a whole, just seeing Gigamesh, just seeing him go all out against someone that he seemingly cared about and seemingly didn't know was being used against him. Like, there's a person that looks just like a person he cared for, but this person either A, doesn't really even remember anything about them because they've been reincarnated and switched users, which if anyone in if anyone wants to tell me if that's a huge spoiler or not, the whole switching users, and we see like the whole time he's kind of glitching out once he's thinking about Gigamesh and stuff. Like his eyes literally have like this weird black pattern on it when he's thinking about it, and it's the same kind of pattern and glitch that we see Gigamesh pop up for a split second, and the reason why he actually doesn't lose his life or actually doesn't have to continue to fight as hard or whatever. I don't know. There's a big destroyed part next to him because the guy held back and moved the attack instead of hitting him dead on. I don't know. I think that's why the show actually became better for me this week, because instead of making it a very straightforward battle and being like, yeah, this guy hates this guy now because he died and Gilgamesh wasn't there to save him, so he's letting it all loose. Like, no, there's somehow he's been changed users, so he's clearly working under someone else. Then not only is he changed users, he's also in a position where everything he pretty much is doing is for someone else. It's not for himself. So already that's a thing as well. And then after learning that he's not doing anything for herself, or she's not doing any of this for herself, we then see that the person who is seemingly can probably one-shot everybody on our team that we think is strong. Like, they probably all get one-shotted by this girl that is actually controlling people, and probably the one actually getting the servants to work for the goddesses to work for her. So I don't know where all this is headed, but I definitely do know that I like most of it as of right now, to see where it's going as a whole. So let me know what you guys are thinking about Fate Grand Order, if it's something that you are happy with from the adaptation from the app to this story, or if you rather just play the app game because this anime is not doing too much justice for you. whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments down below. I definitely would love to hear from you guys. I got one comment that was huge, like I think it was yesterday on this show, so I got to go back and read that and see what they were talking about. It was like at midnight when I got that comment, so I definitely got to go back and check it out, see what they were talking about. But I love people that are passionate about things and love to come in and talk. So talk away, let it all out. Just try not to spoil anybody, and if you are someone that's watching this and hearing all this, be careful of spoilers just in case somebody was trying to explain something to me I asked for and you didn't want to know fully and you saw the comment section. So all that being said, take care everybody. I hope you have an amazing day, night, evening. Your boy's going to be hanging out with his brother. That was his birthday yesterday, so we're at a party today. So I hope you guys have an amazing one, and I will talk to you in the next one. Peace.